We're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar. Great to see you all here. Hermione and Luke, we're just going to go through a tiny bit of housekeeping before we all get started, or before we all overheat. So welcome, everyone. Great to see you in the room. Thanks for coming on this hot, lovely Thursday afternoon lunchtime live session. So we are running another one of our industry tech hiring partner sessions, and today we are delighted to be in the UK, more specifically in the lovely Hampshire, with CleverTouch, so marketing technology consultancy that you'll have all heard a little bit about already, but we're going to learn a lot more about in the next hour. So look, just before we get started, a tiny bit of housekeeping. For anyone who hasn't been here before, we keep this really lovely and neat and tidy within the hour. The team from CleverTouch, who I'm going to introduce now in a moment, are going to go through some slides and explain to us a bit more about them and their team and their projects and so on, and you know, the kind of tech stack there. And then towards the end of the conversation, we'll be sharing some links to how to get in touch in regards to the recruitment process. Lips in hand. There's a chat function, obviously, so please, everybody, say hello and feel free to ask your questions. And we will leave a designated kind of 15-20 minutes when we've finished up on our side of sharing the information for anyone and everyone to ask as many questions as they want. So, but be aware, look, we have 60 minutes max, so there's probably a lot to get through. So guys, welcome. Hermione and Luke, great to have you here. How are you all?
Thank you, really well, thank you. Bit hot.
Good, yeah.
Hello, very well, thank you. Lovely to be here. Thanks for having us.
To just be able to stay in touch with Luke and Hermione, I've also popped their LinkedIn profiles into the chat there, so you'll be able to send them some requests and just stay in touch really simply going forward and being in one another's network. But before we go, who should we start with? Hermione, you and I go back further than myself and Luke, who just met recently. So shall we start and give a bit of context and background to yourself and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the internal resourcing manager for CleverTouch. So I find all the fresh new talent and people, potential staff that want to come on board and work for us as a business. Recently got in touch with Jane a few months back following a really successful appointment of a chap called Paul, who works in our company at the moment. And he came from the Coding Institute and put me in touch with Jane, who then obviously suggested that we can develop a bit more of a partnership and reach out to more people who may want a job in tech, specifically market, which is great.
And we're going to share, guys, towards we're going to go through about what CleverTouch do, and then we're going to share some information about the kind of the role afterwards, and also Hermione's details. So you will have Hermione's email address as a kind of a contact point afterwards. Do you want me, I think maybe if we start with the deck, shall we start going through that and explain to the guys what it is you do over at CleverTouch?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice offices, by the way.
Oh yes,
yeah.
See, this is one of our very unique selling points as well. Where we've got this great new office, as you guys can see. The photo's been taken of one of our Thursdays. This was obviously pre, when the majority of people were back in the office.
Sure.
And we have a wonderful incentive on Thursdays, which we call Thai Thursdays. We've got a local Thai that we share parking with as well. They just bring in an amazing, epic Thai buffet for us every Thursday. So
lovely.
Very well fed. It's absolutely delicious. So this is an example of everyone stuffing their faces with Thai.
Today is Thursday, but
I know. It's not quite the same today. But that's just that. This is kind of our main atrium entrance. The office is a really big, wonderful space. We a couple of years ago basically bought it's an old kitchen showroom with a warehouse attached to the back of it. And we had the whole place refitted and designed just to create a really modern and fun and collaborative working space for us to be as a business, but also will house a lot more staff, which I'll talk about, a little bit on this side with regard to what our company growth is and where we're at the moment, what we want to achieve, and why we've got opportunities for you guys.
Brilliant.
So just to let you know a bit about us. we are a marketing technology consultancy, so we are very much on the technical side as opposed to sort of the brand creative side, although we do have a big creative element to us. And in a nutshell, what we do is we work in partnership with some marketing automation platforms. So we specialize specifically in marketing automation. We help companies make sense of their marketing strategy and help them get the best return of interest from their marketing investment. We are, I kind of word it, we are a 360 consultancy. We've got a lot of our bow, different business areas within our company that all blend together and work and cross over with various projects and client requirements. But we've got a new business team. They are the sales guys that go out and get the new business on board. Once they've got the new clients in, it then gets handed over to the rest of our business, but predominantly the customer success team, which is where our account managers are. And they manage and nurture, enhance the relationships between us and the clients. We have a large technical team, which takes up a lot of our company. It's a team, very much growing and expanding at the moment. And obviously, Luke will talk to you a little bit more about the specific opportunities within tech. They do marry well with our data team as well. So we've got a group of insight data analysts as well that can offer that side of expertise to our clients.
Yeah.
And then we've got a project management team, a technical solutioneers team, and a consultancy team. Are effectively like management consultants who can offer a really sort of high level strategic expertise to our clients as well. It from that kind of level. So we work in, like I've already mentioned, we do work in a really collaborative way. A lot of business areas cross over with others to meet our client requirements, basically.
It's really fascinating. Sorry, Hermione, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just saying it's so fascinating how technical marketing has become so rapidly, isn't it? It's like there's two. It used to just be you had marketing, and now not so much anymore. It's two very separate functions.
Massive.
Yeah,
it's so broad, and it's an incredibly exciting time for us as a business. Undergoing, we've got a lot of growth, and we're booming and doing very well, which is great. But also so exciting for anyone joining, because the opportunities that we've got, as we talk about, are really, really great. But yeah, it's definitely a busy space, and futuristic in that way as well.
So this leads us into what you do then as well, doesn't it?
Just quickly before we move on to that, talking about the scale of marketing now, and how much it how much of it is requiring more people like us. So it's requiring more techies to do more. When I got into this industry 10 years ago, there's a guy called Scott Brinker who basically maps the MarTech landscape, MarTech being marketing technology. So SaaS product basically are sold by companies to other companies, obviously to do bigger and better things with your marketing, to reach more people, to create more leads for sales. And when I started, there was just 250 companies on that list. And now there's over 8,000. So in 10 years, there's been at least, 4,000, say that each of these companies has 2 products each. At least 4,000 new companies selling products to customers. And obviously there are more and less successful versions of these, but we're hearing new buzzwords for technology every single day in our industry. And that requires more and more techies to know how to integrate those platforms together, or how to configure those platforms to the best of their ability. Like, you can't necessarily expect someone who's in marketing thinking about how to best write the content in an email to also know how, email deliverability works, and what an SDF record is, and what DKIM might mean, and what it might mean if someone has bounced or not. So, I think in our company, and I'm probably going to talk about this a lot in a bit, in our company, that we have a really lovely blend of marketing people and technical people. Yeah. And that works really, really well. It's definitely one of our USPs. We work really closely together, hence why we've got our new office, to be able to deliver these really best-in-class solutions to our clients, not purely technical. I'm sure if it was just my team trying to solve these solutions for our clients, they would not meet their expectations. And I'm sure if it was just marketing, they wouldn't be able to do what we can do and exceed for our clients as well. So.
So is it just on that? Is it your kind of your stakeholders on your client site is predominantly marketing people? So being able to speak the language with them and what they're trying to achieve is a really useful background to have, or any. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Sorry to cut you off.
That's okay.
We primarily sell to marketeers.
Yeah.
So marketeers love reading our website and they love reading what we do. And those are the people that have the ideas that they can't quite achieve because either the technology is too complicated or there are just steps in the way that they are unable to do physically because the technology isn't enabling them to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Or they've got to get a number of different technologies talking to each other to be able to get the data to actually be able to send the right communication at the right time to someone. So yeah, we primarily deal with marketeers. The larger projects, and I'll come on to talking about those and some of the clients that we work with, we do have dedicated streams purely where technical people are talking to technical people. And most of the time when that happens, we are talking deep tech, we're talking integrations, we're talking what stack we're building on, and all that kind of stuff. The majority of what we do, though, is talking to marketeers about trying to make their dreams a reality, really, I would say. It's probably more likely for anyone who's to join the team.
So beautifully creative and wonderfully technical.
Yes, that's what
Well, I jump into the next slide. Would you like that, Luke?
Good, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Just quickly to introduce myself, I'm Luke. I'm Technical Director here at CleverTouch. Been here for 10 years, so I've sort of, company's 12 years old, so I've been here for a very long time. In fact, my entire career has been at CleverTouch so far. And obviously, I think that goes to show that the company is is obviously a really great place to be. I've never felt bored. There's always something happening, something new. Because we're a consultancy, we're constantly talking to our clients about what is next. And often that will come to me where someone will say, okay, what can we actually do next? So it's like continually evolving, the stuff that we do is continually growing, evolving. The technologies that we work in is continually growing and evolving. So there's always something to learn. There's always something new to do. So it's a really, really great place to be.
What a diverse client list. Even just looking at some of the ones that you've chosen there, it must be pretty amazing working with Deliveroo, such a consumer kind of base, and then VMware is so different, and Deloitte, much more corporate and kind of business to business. Fascinating.
Yeah, so we primarily do business to business.
Okay.
So a lot of the time that we are working with our clients, we will sell to the business to business team, and we'll often get introduced into the business to consumer team. Okay. So currently at Deliveroo, we are doing business to business. We are trying to enable Deliveroo to better target restaurants who will then go on and use them as a service, which is something that you generally don't really think about as Deliveroo. They obviously have that need, and we're helping them facilitate that need through their marketing comms. And then at Shell, we sold them some of our software. So we developed software that can extract data out of some of the systems that we work with. Talking about that integration piece earlier, we sold that to Shell. Fujitsu are a massive client of ours. We have a team dedicated to basically doing their global marketing. So we do anything for them. Basically, if you see any marketing come out of Fujitsu, it's probably come through us. We if it's B2B, which means you probably won't see it actually.
Oh yeah. the silent army driving cars.
Yeah. And then obviously, companies personally, I'd never heard of Deloitte until I got into this company, and I hadn't heard of a lot of the investment banks that we work with, but we do really well in financial services as well, where a lot of financial services companies, they already know who their audience is. They know who the investors are, the big investors that have their money under management. And what we need to do for them is basically enable them to better communicate with those people so that they will invest more and they won't switch over to a different investment bank. So, like I said, it's really, really varied what we do. Any client, we have something new to do with them, basically. So this sort of touches on what Hermione was just talking about. What do we do? We're a MarTech consultancy. We take our clients' ideas and we turn them into reality. As I said before, we bring a really good blend of technical skills, marketing skills, consultancy skills, and project management skills to basically make sure that we're delivering our clients' work on time, in budget, and we're making our clients successful. is one of the things that we really, really try and like. Well, it's one of the things that we say a lot. Like if we can make our clients successful, they will move business, they'll go to a new business and they'll bring us in there. It happens all the time. That's how we got into Deliveroo. Someone left PayPal, they went to Deliveroo, and then we got in.
And you got in that way.
New business that way.
And there's an active network. There's what an example, even when we're not talking about recruitment, the people connection that can have enormous influence on what happens. Come here. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk about, as a recruiter, I just can't stop staring at the fact that you had to try and help hire 40,000 people for a deco. That is, I've never seen a recruitment drive like that. 40,000 people. Oh my God.
I'd love to talk. Actually, I'm coming to goosebumps talking about that.
Yeah.
This makes me sound a bit.
I'm getting nervous too, even though it's done already. Yeah.
What we did with them, so they basically brought us in. We had an extremely tight deadline. It was a year that we had to make this happen in. And that included building everything, getting all these invites out for people to get jobs and all this kind of stuff. But we use a platform called Marketing Cloud, which is a platform that enables us to really sweetly target people based on their interests, based on their locations, based on what jobs they may have signed up for. And we were using data from probably 3, 4, 5 different systems, bringing it into this platform and sending out comms to people at the right time to basically make them want to sign up and get a job with the census.
Yeah.
So we hired door knockers, so people would go out and knock on doors, tell you that you haven't done anything and you're going to get fined. We hired those people. We hired the people who would supervise at the events that people had to go to. And we had basically a solution that took people from requesting that they start the role on the website, so basically showing your interest, all the way through to making sure that they're checked by agencies to make sure they don't have bad histories, and making sure that these people can actually work at the times that we've requested. If at any time they started to fall out, we had a different journey that would pick them up and say, okay, let's get you back on track. Maybe we'll send them an SMS to remind them that they need to get their contracting. We had basically throughout this whole project and program, we had so many different journeys that someone could go on. I think it was 250 different journeys that someone could go on based on what stage they were at in the recruitment flow. And this obviously took a huge amount of thinking up front, and then a huge amount of really, really smart technical doing. And it was definitely my favorite project I've ever worked on. It was really technical, really fun. And it was really to work in like a really close-knit team.
Yeah.
One of the biggest challenges of that project, we had to work with the Office for National Statistics, who are very facetious about the information they need.
Mm-hmm.
We had to do lots and lots of like reporting on what we were doing and how we were doing it to give that information back to them.
I can imagine. Gosh, well done. That's amazing. There's a question in there which is kind of relevant to say now, actually. Someone's curious about whether you use your own technology to market yourself. I presume you do, or is that just too hard to...
So the technology that we have created, what we've always said as a business is we do not want to create what are the people that we basically work from. So we work with technologies, primarily marketing technologies, marketing cloud technologies, ones that let you send messages to people through a number of different mediums at the right time. And these are used to be called marketing automation platforms, and some still are. Now they're primarily called marketing cloud platforms because they let us communicate with different audiences on different channels being mail, SMS, direct mail, through the post, and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So we've always said we won't create our own piece of technology to do this, because obviously it would just take away from our relationships that we have with the companies that we work with. What we do have is we've built technology on top of these to enable us to make life easier for the marketeer that we sell to. So when I talk about our own technology, it's primarily we're building simplification technology to make the marketeers' lives easier. So we take all the complex stuff away and give them these really easy interfaces to use, which can be really powerful, but they are simple to use at the end of the day, not like the technologies that we are using on their behalf.
Okay. Well, will we jump on to the next one and take a look at some of those technologies then, so that people can get a bit familiar. Oh,
So
sorry, this jumps into the role, so it's probably a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I've gone off on a big enough tangent now.
But sorry, just before we do, what is really, I suppose for me, what I really take from that, it's just so fascinating, the diversity. Like we said, as soon as we saw that slide, the logos are so different. Every single project, like, you just have to be so able to look at what you're able to do and come up with a solution. Like, all of that critical thinking must be fun.
It's really good fun.
Yeah.
I would say those projects don't come around every day, but when they do, we're ready, and we are like, it's such a good use case for us, and such a good example for us to take to our other clients and say, look what we can do. Do you want us to automate everything? Well, we can do that. We've got the skills in house to do that.
Okay. Yeah.
So we are currently recruiting, hence why we're here. And we're currently recruiting for MarTech specialists. So these are people that will come into my team, and they'll join teams of about 6 other people working on similar things. And you will be doing anything with JavaScript, CSS, HTML, primarily starting off. I wouldn't expect you to come in and have to know Node.js right now. I wouldn't expect you to come in and have to know React. This is purely like things that marketeers can't do, like code emails, code landing pages, code form validation, things like that. You would also be working in the platforms that I've just spoken about. So the marketing technology platforms, which have ranging levels of complexity. If we take something like Pardot, which is produced by Salesforce, that platform is generally our most simple one. It enables you to do things like build emails, landing pages, set up logic to be able to target people, have a drag and drop interface for configuring systems and things like that. Mm-hmm. All the way through to Marketing Cloud. It could be Salesforce Marketing Cloud or the new Adobe Marketing Cloud, which we are going to be getting into. And these enable us to do things like create API calls out to third-party systems to pull in information in real time. They enable us to write SQL to be able to target our audiences. They enable us to create databases inside the system so that we can best target people. So, your skills as you join, you'll primarily be starting on the easier platforms, we would say, like the easier to configure platforms. And over time, you'll get more and more skills, and you'll start working in the marketing clouds, doing things like SQL queries, doing API calls out to third-party systems, all the way still using that HTML, that core HTML, CSS, JavaScript skills that you've been growing and building on over time. Yeah. In addition to that, you will be supporting our clients. So if you're someone that you feel like you can talk to clients, then you will be in front of clients. We utilize people's skills as we have them. There's never a role in our business that doesn't necessarily touch something else, because that's not written into the job title. We're still a small business. We still want to try and grow people as much as we possibly can in any way that they can better our business. So if you're someone that can talk to clients, brilliant. If you're someone that doesn't want to talk to clients, well, then you don't have to. At the end of the day, it's about how we can possibly utilize your skills to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
And you will also be supporting our clients in a number of different ways. So it might be requests that come through our customer success team that our clients need to be sort of looked into. Maybe some data hasn't synced properly, or maybe some information hasn't gone out in an email properly. Yeah. You'll be a good investigative source for that kind of stuff. And all the way, you'll be working in that team of 6. They'll be supporting you. They will be helping you. They'll be training you along that whole passage as well. With Paul, who's recently joined us, he's obviously got, I think he was doing some extra work with you guys post him leaving. So in terms of his skill set, he's fitting really, really nicely. He fit in, really, really well. So we think that people who are going through this course are going to come out with the types of skills that we need. Let's start off by what we're requiring. Everyone in my team has got a different set of skills, really.
Well, this is the thing, and in terms of the technologies, it fits in beautifully, like a glove. And then, but we all know when it comes to hiring, there's a number of criteria that you look for, because someone needs to have similar sort of maybe behaviors or drivers or work patterns that fit well with the team without being carbon copies of one another. So I guess, particularly the fact that you're an agency, there's huge potential to be engaging with clients directly and representing the business. You're not sort of hiding away in the back. And then also the diversity of what you're working on. There's an element of repetition to all jobs, I suppose. But the big thing here is that there's going to be a lot of variation dependent on what's being asked for. So there's a lot, isn't there?
So yeah, you might be doing a similar thing to what you've done with a different client, but it'll always be a little bit different because all of our clients are a little bit different, as you saw by that client list. What I really liked about Paul was he had a background in project management, and in my team, I didn't necessarily have someone that was like able to take on a big problem and turn it into smaller problems and sort of spread that throughout the team.
Okay.
So Paul's come in and he's taken on the requirement of re-engineering our onboarding process. So everything that he's going through, he's working with our new starters. We've got about 5 new starters who are working on this with him. And they are basically re-engineering what it's going to be like for a new person to join our team. And Paul's doing a great job bringing all the team together, documenting the notes from the meetings. And this is all of the sort of, it's not necessarily the stuff that you probably learned at the Code Institute, which is the stuff that we still need. But this is all the other stuff that you brought as well, which I think was really, really good. So if you have other skills beyond just technical skills, you will find out from the crowd as well.
That's a really interesting part of this, and it'd be really useful for a lot of people who are here, because many, obviously a lot of our coders are career changers. This is a mechanism to sort of learn this. So you have these lovely CVs that that people will be sending out that will have, skill sets from previous roles that they can bring in. And we would always say, try and arrange that cleverly, but be smart about the brilliant competencies that you have from previous jobs, because it's really relevant in a new job. Just like you pointed out, like Paul having been a project manager and, having those kind of consultancy skills. So a great communicator, very organized. You can get them from all sorts of roles. So think about it, guys, before you send them out. But it's so lovely to hear it firsthand from you, because this is what you need in your team, right? And then Hermione, you must screen for all of these things and try and bear this in mind as you're hiring.
Absolutely. And I know you touched on sort of team fit and culture, and the ability to do the job and having the skills is one thing, but the right personality and the right culture fit is so important to us as well, because we embrace our culture, and it's important that people coming on board enjoy working there and enjoy working in that collaborative way as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you're primarily office based, so in terms of kind of how you guys would communicate if anyone is working part remote, I know you mentioned that there's a little bit of flexibility now and maybe partial stuff that you're going to do. How do you communicate? Do you use Slack or do you use something internal to
we use
we
use Microsoft Teams.
Microsoft Teams, okay.
Pretty embedded into our Microsoft stack now. A lot of the stuff that we do is through our products. So it's getting better and better and better and integrating better together. So
okay. So some oh, sorry, Hermione.
Well, no, I was just going to touch on you mentioned about the flexible working. So that's something that we're taking from the whole, we've all had to work from home all the time to when normality completely resumes. There will be a nice sort of hybrid working week. Everyone has the flexibility to work from home 2 days a week, but it's important for us as we've been getting across. It's important to have a presence in the office to work together as a team.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's always questions about that, because I suppose we're in such a period of transition now, with people sort of slowly getting back to reorganizing what the office does and what it looks like. So there's very different practices kind of starting out. But I think that the office, in terms of creativity and culture, it's so nice to be able to retain that and protect that.
Yeah. And I think Siobhan's just asked if we're open to full remote at the moment. Yeah. At the moment, it's not really on our cards at the moment to be full remote, but we do have that flexibility of half and half at the moment, really.
Yeah, and sure, Hampshire is a lovely place to base oneself, isn't it? Yeah,
it's lovely, and the location of our office is so it's actually the best of both worlds, because you can walk 5 minutes up the road and you're in a field. But equally, it's on a main sort of A road that literally just takes you, on straight onto another county that kind of is right on the border between Surrey and Hampshire. So it's near Winchester, if anyone knows Winchester. And yeah, it's a good place to be.
So a nice combo.
Yeah.
Let's have a bit of a look at the team then, and find out more about who's there. These people look like fun. Are you all drinking champagne? Yeah. So these are Fridays as opposed to Thursdays.
This was in our old office, and hopefully you can see that we've stepped up a bit since moving. So this was when we won for the first time the Times Top 100. We were in the Times Top 100 companies to work for. We put ourselves in it was one of our 5-year goals that we were trying to achieve, and we put ourselves in as a test run, and we actually got in. So we were shocked.
Goodness me, well done. That's brilliant.
And then, we just got better year on year. So I think we came in at 98, then we got 86, and now I think we're somewhere down in the 70s.
We're in the 70s, and we want to get in the 50s, don't we? That's our next kind of, our ambition.
That's the next goal.
Yeah.
So in the tech team, we've got 25 people in tech. We have a huge ranging different sets of skills. So I would say the primary skills I have in my team are HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I'm sure almost everyone on this call will say that you really know HTML. It's surprising how much HTML you probably don't know that we have to use. So when we're designing and developing emails, we actually have to use legacy technologies for them to work in older browsers. So in older email clients. So for example, Outlook uses the rendering engine from Word, which uses tables, so HTML tables. So we have built up over the years this extremely good skill set of being able to build and troubleshoot responsive emails. And you will get a really good sort of grounding in that as you join us. But not only that, there are a ton of different things that you'll have to do, like working around system quirks and things like that, like really good troubleshooting opportunities for you to be able to do that kind of stuff as well. And then the skills grow and grow and grow. So obviously the better you get at JavaScript, the more you will be able to do in these systems, and the more you will know what solutions you can do, and that will grow the scope of what you can work on. And then if you move into our development team, so I'll talk about hierarchy and structure and stuff in just a minute. If you were to move into our development team, the guys in there are using Node.js for anything that deals with large data sets. We're using Vue.js for our front-end modern framework. Sorry, it's not React. And we're using Laravel for our, primarily our back-end stuff. So that is a PHP framework that we use. And I know a lot of people will be saying, yeah, but PHP is dead. Actually, it's not completely dead. And a few businesses are still using it, and particularly because Laravel exists. But, we are always evolving. We're always, looking at different technologies and making sure that we are making the right choices. And we feel like we still are making the right choices with the technologies that we're going down right now. In terms of the team, so we have team structure set up so that we have groups of people with varying skill sets. So people are continually learning from others. So you will join a team that's managed by one person. That team will be about 6 or 7 big. And the team, you'll meet up in the morning and you'll talk about what you need to do for the day. And you will try and come up with opportunities to shadow each other and things like that. So how can we possibly learn better today? As you grow through your skill sets, you will potentially become either someone that manages a bunch of people, or someone that is a subject matter expert in one of the technologies that we use, or just a general all-rounder. Someone that has got an extremely safe pair of hands. You can throw any project at them and they will come back and it will be like gleaming. It will be an amazing piece of work that's been done. Then your other opportunities are, once you've moved up through the tech tree, you can move to our development team. Obviously, to get into that team, though, you need to be a good developer at the moment. That team isn't huge. It's currently a team of 3 people. And they're all full stack developers. They all work autonomously, obviously as a team. But there's no one in that team that is continually, there's no one in that team, I would say, that is junior. The plan is in future to be able to offer more junior roles, but currently we don't have the scope or capacity to that, just to set everyone's expectations. The other option at our company is obviously, as we're a consultancy, you can move into our technical consultancy team. So if it turns out you're actually brilliant at talking to clients, you're brilliant at taking requirements, and you're brilliant at turning those requirements into a solution, which maybe you won't implement, but you will then hand on to the technical team to implement. That is an amazing skill set to have. And obviously with that comes a whole bunch of other skills of like working with clients and reading the room and, managing your time really, really effectively. So those are sort of your technical opportunities at CleverTouch. But I have had people in my team also move to other departments. So I've had someone in my team become a project manager. I've had someone in my team become a customer success advocate. I've had 2 people in my team become pre-sales consultants. So again, we're a small company. Wherever your skills are best utilized, that's where we will put you. If you're not happy where you are, we'll try and find something else that would suit you. I think is sort of the message on this slide. And I'm sure I've mentioned it already, but we are growing. We're looking to grow quite significantly. We've currently got 5 open positions. And we're going to have more throughout the year. And then next year, I'd expect us to be growing by another 12, at least, people in our technical function. If obviously we keep tracking to all of our targets, which we currently are.
Wow. Yeah. Gosh, yeah. It's fascinating. And we, as one of our masterclasses, we do one that's called kind of understanding a SaaS business or a software product business, and the point of that is to try and help people understand much more about the amount of touch points there are within the world of a developer, and just everything you said there is just so interesting and really, really, really nice to hear, that all of these technical skills can be utilized in so many different ways, that someone should really think about this when they're planning their career, that there's a lot of avenues to pursue, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah, wow. Sorry, Hermione, you were going to say something there, were you? I thought I butted in.
No, I was just going to I mean, in terms of growth as a business, I think we're around sort of the early 60s, mid 60s at the moment in terms of how many people we've got at the moment. And we want to get that up to about 80 by the end of the year for the whole company, obviously. And I know the opportunities that are key for you guys are tech. And the majority of them are in tech, but there are some other business areas we're recruiting into as well.
Okay.
And it's constantly changing because,
of course,
it's just more client demands means more resources, which means more jobs and more people. So it's a good place to be.
So come here, with the time that we have left, shall we go through the sort of maybe the interview process? If somebody is running off now is there another slide about this? If somebody is,
Sorry, I was just going to say this last slide is just basically to point you to our careers page and our Life at CleverTouch page on our website. Yeah. The careers page on our website will obviously go through what you might look to do in a role, but I think the Life at CleverTouch page will give you an insight into what it's actually like to be at CleverTouch. We do loads of really nice activities. I've got planned for my team COVID. Obviously,
I was going to say, you haven't got planned for your team COVID. Are you going to say more?
COVID aside, and obviously, I'm planning for this to happen, but it might not happen based on COVID. We've got booked on the 12th of August. We're going to an escape room. We've got 2 teams pitting against each other in an escape room. In the past, we've been on something called the Gin Train, which is a steam train with gin and food on it, the whole company. And we do
another perk of being in Ropley. It's literally just up the road from the office. Yeah.
The Gin Train. That sounds interesting. Yeah.
You'd love it, Jane.
Our company director, our company owner, I should say, is an avid fan of fancy dress. So we happen to do, unfortunately, quite a few fancy dress parties and things like that. So
no
pressure.
Wasn't there Ue Le Poulet one year at Christmas where someone had to dress up as a chicken and do like a pub crawl and was like half an hour ahead of everybody else and everybody had to try and catch up with it. So it was like, where is the chicken? Ue Le Poulet. But yeah, it's a very random example, but that's how, we can be we work hard, play hard. But, it's a good fun place to work. And this afternoon it was offered to the whole business. Unfortunately, numbers have depleted just because of isolation and things like that. But there's a local winery vineyard called Hassingley Valley, just about 10 minutes up the road from the office. So there's a decent number of us that are heading for a wine tasting afternoon and just a nice sort of, company social, which is really, it's really important to get that across as well. Company socials and the fun aspect of it, as well as the working side. But in terms of, I love Yasmin's, I'm in the gin tray. Knew that would sell it. Good mention. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the recruitment process, I think Jane has obviously has put the link on the chat with regards to our careers page. Mm-hmm. There is a form on the careers page you can fill in where you apply and it comes through to me, or by all means, just email me directly with your CV, your application, your situation, if you're potentially going to relocate or and exactly what it is you're looking for. And then I ring you, have a chat with you about, the opportunity and expectations on both sides. And then send across your details for Luke to review. Interviews are 2-stage interviews at the moment. At the moment, they are being conducted virtually over Microsoft Teams. And for anyone that lives quite far away that would relocate potentially for the job, we will continue that. And a 1st-stage interview is around an hour long. It's a two-way conversation chat with Luke about the role, about you, about your experience, about what interests you in the job. And then he conducts some coding tests for about 10 minutes or so whilst on the call with you. They're predominantly HTML, aren't they, Luke?
No, JavaScript. Sorry.
JavaScript, sorry. And then if that all goes well, there'll be a 2nd-stage interview, again with Luke, but also to meet with our managing director, Elaine, as well. And then we make our decision following that. But in between the 2 interviews, there is a sort of further, more in-depth coding test that we send you. I send you a link to, and we expect it to take about an hour and a half to do in your own time and to send back to us before your 2nd interview. And it's really just to give us a good idea of your level of knowledge. It's not kind of to scare you off or anything like that. It just gives us a good idea of how much you do know and areas that perhaps we would need to put support in place if you were successful.
Okay, perfect. I used to be a stenographer, so I wrote that out very quickly while you were saying it. So if anyone wants to copy and paste it. Yeah, my shorthand. Yeah, but no, it's good because it sounds like that happens quite quickly. It sounds like a very efficient recruitment process. So you're straight through to decision makers in Hermione and Luke, and then obviously you guys can do an assessment pretty quickly for sort of the drivers and also for the technical levels, and then you figure it out more in depth. And then you make a decision, and that's kind of it. It's not a compilation process.
I think the reason why we can do that is because the skills that I need in my team are really varied. So if you come into me with amazing JavaScript skills, well, then I can utilize those skills really quite quickly. If you come to me with average HTML and CSS skills, well, there's still work that we need to be done that requires those types of skills. And there's other skills that we can teach you relatively quickly that will mean that, for me, your personality is probably the number one thing I'm looking at, and how you get on. Your skills, your technical skills are important, but they are not number one. And then around that, it's like any other skills that you'll bring in that will augment the team. Hence, me bringing in Paul. Paul has got a really structured way of working, which has sort of helped me offload some of the stuff that I would normally have to do, which has been really, really useful. So I would be looking at your other skills as well, and probably just as equally as your technical skills. So, in our business, we can be really quite fluid with the types of people that we get in, and the whereabouts we can put them, and the working that we can get them to do.
Wow. And so obviously these roles are live, guys. So in terms of start dates, Amy was curious about when you're hoping to kind of onboard. So
tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as we find the right people, really. I mean, the ball is very much in the applicant's court, really.
Okay.
Yeah, we're looking for junior and senior roles, and as soon as someone is available, if they're if someone is available sooner than someone else, they will probably get the role right now, I would probably say.
Sure.
But the way that we're currently doing as a business, I would expect us to get more roles in by the end of the year. Like, I can't see it not happening.
So I think sometimes we get asked, very often I will get asked after the webinar, is it okay if I apply if I haven't graduated yet? And, you know, I suppose my usual answer to somebody is to wait up that you're ready. And, you know, everything that you've said there is that there's a balance, and you're combining someone's skills and stage. And, you know, I don't think if somebody applies and isn't quite there yet, that there's going to be any restrictions on them reapplying when they are. Yeah.
You know, and actually we would love to have a bank of people that we've spoken to before that maybe weren't quite ready, but we can reach out to every 2 months. Like Hermione, I'm sure would love this. And say, look, have you worked on that thing that we couldn't quite achieve last time? And then show progression. For me, that's massive. Like seeing people go away and do something about it is an amazing thing. And actually, if you fail an interview and you send me something on LinkedIn that's like, look what I've done, I'm going to get Hermione to get you straight back in. That shows really good, like, you know, you're not scared to fail, which is really important. You're not scared to reach out again, and you've learned from what happened last time. And those traits are just brilliant. Like,
oh, completely agree. And there's another important phrase in there as well, LinkedIn. You know, I definitely cannot say enough how important it is, certainly from a recruiter perspective. I do we do loads of networking as a business anyway, but also as individuals on LinkedIn. It's a great way to please do link in with me. My LinkedIn profile is at the beginning of the chat, as Jane mentioned. Link in with Luke as well. But it's a great way to stay connected, and you'll be able to see the updates on us as a company and get just generally get a better insight into the kind of things that we share and do. And do hound me on LinkedIn. Don't be afraid, or on email. Don't be afraid to keep pushing back on things. If you haven't heard back from me or whatever, please do.
There's a nice question there from Amy, and I think that she thinks for quite a few people who are changing careers, because sometimes it can just seem so intimidating if it's a really different environment to what you've been in before. And she's referencing advices that you may have for people suffering from imposter syndrome. And I think, look, I always say about this, it's really mind over matter. Like Hermione and Luke are just two normal people who are very good at what they do and want other people to come and join them and help. So, you know,
it's not intimidating. The process isn't intimidating. The workplace is not intimidating. Everyone gets everyone is listened to. Everyone feels equal, regardless of what level you're at, which I think is so rare in a company. I've worked for, in public, private sectors before, and it's quite rare to have that where you feel like you can just go up and have a chat with the owner and CEO, or, someone from the exec team. Everybody is approachable, and it's really important to get that across. And, we wouldn't want anyone in the company to feel like they weren't able to do that. It's really important.
And I would say I still have imposter syndrome.
Oh.
Always have imposter syndrome. I joined the company not really knowing what kind of skills I had. Turns out my skills were actually really quite useful, and I could work quite quicker than some of the other people in the team, which I was surprised about, because I was new to this business, and it turned I then got promoted to be a manager. Again, my imposter syndrome just exploded. What the hell am I doing? How the hell do I do this? No one is gonna respect what I have to say. And then I got promoted to be another manager of more people, and then I've eventually become technical director. I've still got it in the back of me, like it might not look like it, but in the back of my head, I'm constantly like re-evaluating, thinking, is this the right thing to say? Is this the right thing to do? I don't think it will ever leave you. But what if you can't get over it, you'll never have the opportunity. Like if you can't get over those first steps that are like blocking you from doing something, you will never get what I got, which was recognition from others that what you are doing is right, and you do actually know what you're talking about. well, maybe I'm very good at blagging about what I talk about.
No, I think that was brilliant advice. And, it's really practical advice as well, because you're dead right. It's so true that people who from the outside might look like they know exactly what's going on, every day is presenting a different problem. And you just get better practiced at going, it's okay not to know something.
Exactly.
No one's analyzing you. We're just hoping that you're going to stay involved and try and figure this out with us. So, but sometimes it just takes a bit of confidence and kind of trial and error to realize that. But it's a great question. And I hope now Amy is planning on going off to prepare her application for you guys.
Yeah. I'm going to be looking out for Amy, the imposter.
You'll have a different name, surely.
Yeah.
No, well done, Amy. It's brilliant, because it's something that is really nice to hear being talked about directly from people like you, who are, in positions that other people are aspiring to be in and working towards and nervous about going and meeting. So nice to have friendly faces. Gosh, we got through a lot. So I guess to summarize, if there's any really quick last questions, guys, now's the time to get them in, because we're coming up to 5 to, and we need to let everybody get back to their day. But this is recorded. Guys, for you guys in CleverTouch, this will be shared internally, just so you know what happens with it. And for anyone here who wants to rewatch this, it's going to be in Slack in the coming days. But for applications, obviously speed is of the essence. These roles can start immediately. People who are available quickly will become more attractive. But there's also ongoing roles, so stay in touch and get talking to the guys in CleverTouch so that they can start the process with you.
Yes, please do. And if there's any questions you don't want to or don't feel comfortable putting on the chat, please just drop me an email, and I'll answer as best I can any questions you may have. Guys, love to hear from you.
Hermione's email is in the chat there, guys, so you'll be able to scroll down. It's hnichols@clevertouch.com. Cool. Well, come here. What a pleasure. It's been great to have you here, and for the first time, but we'll have you back again soon. And we'll keep in touch over the coming weeks and see how everybody is getting on with their interviews.
Thank you for having us.
Not at all. More than welcome. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon and your weekend, and we'll speak again soon.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks a million, guys. Best of luck with it all. Bye.